Hello friends, this is Viraj Rane, Faculty of International Relations at GS Core. Today, I will be talking to you about the initiative of GS Core, Mains Answer Writing Initiative of GS Core. In this particular initiative, we are dividing subjects into themes and then we will be guiding you, we will be interacting and guiding you with respect to how you have to write answers when question from that particular theme arrives. Same will be done with respect to IR. As with other subjects, we will do the same with respect to IR also. So IR as a subject, we have divided it into different themes and then we will look into how questions from those themes have to be answered. What is the ideal manner in which questions from those themes shall be answered by you as UPSC aspirants. International relations is a subject in general studies paper 2. All right. Overall, international relations amounts to 50 to 70 marks of your paper. All right, 50 to 70 valuable marks from your paper. In this particular subject, what you will notice is most of the questions are current affairs based. And the current affairs of this particular subject, the current affairs on which questions from this particular subject appear are quite recent ones. Hence, gaining an edge over this 50 to 70 marks is quite easy when you compare the way in which or the efforts that you have to put in to gain marks in other subjects. All right. For the purpose of this particular initiative, what we have done is we have divided, as I told you, the subject into various themes, and the first theme that we will be looking into is objectives of Indian foreign policy, the most basic of international relations. What do you have to go through or what you have to understand, which particular topics you have to understand when you look into this particular theme? So first and foremost, you have to know what are the objectives of Indian foreign policy. That is the first and the most basic information that you have to have, that you should know for the purpose of writing answers on Indian foreign policy, for writing answers on objectives of Indian foreign policy. Second thing that you have to know is actors that determine India's foreign policy. All right. Actors that determine India's foreign policy. And third, the factors that determine India's foreign policy. What are the circumstances in which a particular policy is adopted by India? Those circumstances can be internal, those circumstances can be external. All right. Actors who all are involved in making India's foreign policy, who are involved in making the objectives of determining the objectives of Indian foreign policy. All right. Fourth, results of Indian foreign policy. Fourth, results of moving towards the objectives of Indian foreign policy. For example, securing the borders of India is one of the objectives of Indian foreign policy. Securing India is one of the objectives of Indian foreign policy. And for the purpose of that, what India does? India may sign an agreement on exchange of prisoners, or India may sign an agreement with, say, Myanmar, for the purpose of Myanmar not giving shelter to the leaders of secessionist groups in its territories. So that is the result. Now, our foreign policy is to keep India secure. And for the purpose of keeping India secure, what we have done? We have gone out and made a treaty with Myanmar, so that Myanmar does not give refuge to secessionist leaders of India in its territory. All right. So these are basically These are basically the 4 topics that come under this particular theme, that is India's foreign policy. The questions that appear from this particular theme are current based. Questions that appear from whole of IR are current based. But what is the trick over here? What is the trick over here with respect to scoring better marks or writing better answers? Even if questions are current based, and even if questions are more current than the questions that come in IR, even though they are more current than the questions that appear from current affairs in other subjects, the problem is, or rather I'll not say it is a problem, but the trick here is to have a knowledge of concepts of IR to a certain extent, and also to know historically how India has ventured with respect to its objectives, its foreign policy objective. What this will do? This will give you an edge over other candidates, because when you write your answers based on current affairs, all right, based on your knowledge of current affairs, and include the clarity of concepts, and also show how India has ventured around or navigated around that particular policy from historical perspective, what this will do is this will give depth to your answer. And this depth, my friends, will give you extra points, extra brownie points, extra marks. All right, extra marks. What are the basic materials that you will use? Because the paper is based on current affairs, of course, it has to be newspapers and magazines. What shall be your attitude towards writing this answer? Should it be objective? Should it be subjective? So let me tell you, there is a misconception that IR involves writing that is highly subjective. My perspective of a foreign policy objective, my perspective of foreign policy aim, and the way in which it will turn out to be, that can be different from yours, no doubt about it. But think of it from an UPSC aspirant point of view. All right, think of it from UPSC aspirant point of view. As an UPSC aspirant, your attitude towards an objective of India's foreign policy has to be in sync or has to be in line with that of government's attitude or government's outlook. All right. Hence, what you have to do is you have to navigate your answer with respect to India's objective in foreign policy from the point of view of government. Hence, there is less subjectivity and more objectivity. Remember, you are an UPSC aspirant, you are an IFS, IS aspirant. Your views have to be in sync with those of the government. There can be an occasion where you can, write some criticism. You can write some initiatives that can be taken more and above what the government is actually doing. You can, of course, write if some reforms are needed with respect to the way in which India's foreign policy objectives are recognized and are, sought after. You can, of course, write that. But on the whole, your idea should be as per the idea of government. I'll give you an example. There has been a military coup in Myanmar. India always supported democracy in Myanmar. But last year, there was a military coup in Myanmar. All right. Now, because India is a democratic country and we have always supported democratic values and we have also supported a democratic Myanmar, does that mean that we will not talk to the military of Myanmar, which is in power right now? If the question arises before you, Indian government is talking to them. Indian government is talking to the military rulers of Myanmar. It is talking to the military junta. Your answer should be navigated in such a way कि हाँ ठीक है, for our benefit, for security of India, because Myanmar is very important from security point of view of India. It is also important so that China does not gain more space in India's neighborhood. All right. So from point of view of India, yes, we have to talk to Myanmar, but obviously as a reform measure, as an initiative, what you can also write is Indian government should also over the period of time talk to the military rulers of Myanmar to bring democracy back in the country. All right, your answer should be in sync with, as I have told repeatedly, with the foreign policy of India right now. That is, we will talk to the military rulers of Myanmar. All right, but your answer should also include a reform measure. Yeah, ठीक है, over the period of time, Indian government should also take into consideration talking to the military rulers and making them appreciate democratic values and to implement democracy in Myanmar. That should be your answer. This is the way in which your answer should be structured and built. All right. So for the purpose of testing how you can write and for the purpose of improving what you write on this theme, we have arranged for answer writing sessions. We have arranged for answer writing sessions. For registration of these sessions, to participate in these answer writing sessions, what you can do is you can go on the link provided in the description section, register yourself and get benefit of this particular initiative. Thank you so much, friends, for being part of this, discussion. I'll see you soon in this particular initiative, in the answer writing initiative of Mains for the subject of international relation. Thank you so much. Bye.